Hello, today I want to talk about how globalization shapes income inequality. I want to talk about some lessons from history, and I want to talk about some modern trend in regards to income inequality. So there are three main points that I want to talk about in this post. Number one is that income inequality is growing within certain countries, for example in the United States, but it is being reduced at a global level. Number two, the main reason for income inequality is globalization and also the way that we produce content. And number three, what can we do about it? So I would like to start with the premise that making money is a talent like many other talents. For example, if you are an artist, let's say you play the guitar and you spend hours and hours and hours and days and weeks and years playing the guitar, you are going to get good at it. Or let's say you are an athlete and you spend hours your whole life training for this Olympic competition or for that other competition, you are going to be so good at it. Well, if you study finance, let's say, and you study how to market products and how to create efficiencies in the market, and if that's all you do and is that where you put all your focus, you are going to get good at making money. So it is an art, it is a skill, it is something that people can improve within time, like everything else. Keeping in mind that it's a skill and that people get good the more that they do it, the more that they practice, there are some things that I would like to point out. For example, if you are an athlete and you are so good that you are way better than everybody else, let's say like Caitlin Clark in female basketball, society is not gonna say, oh, it's so unfair that she's so good and everybody else is just not as good. Let's take away some of her quality. Or let's say you are an artist, let's say you are just way better than everybody else. Imagine someone like Taylor Swift. Society would not say, oh, she's so good that we are gonna take away some of her talents in order to make a playing field. But if you are a business person and you are successful, society does penalize you for your success. They tax you, and the more that you earn, the higher the tax bracket that they put you, and the more that you earn, they take away even more. So society has a way to penalize people who are in business of making money, of creating value, and they have created something, a progressive tax system. So the higher you earn, the bigger the portion of your earnings that society is going to take away from you. But let's keep in mind that millions of people want to come to the United States because they want an opportunity to make money. They want an opportunity to go to school, study, get a well-compensated job, or to create a business. These are opportunities that generally they don't have in their home country. So people are looking for these kind of opportunities. Now, there have been societies that have tried to equal the playing field, and there are some societies that have succeeded in obtaining income equality, and those societies are named Cuba. Everyone has the same amount of wealth because everyone is almost equally as poor. Venezuela, there is hardly any income inequality in Venezuela because everyone is poor. The same thing goes with North Korea, and to a lesser extent in China. So yes, income equality is possible, except that I don't know if as a society we want to get there. You know, it's just very defeating socially to think that it doesn't matter what you do, how much better you are than everybody else, you are going to be at the same level, and that defeats creativity, innovation, the desire to work. That's a defeat in so many levels. I would like to bring some other examples. In 1972, in Uganda, the Ugandan government deported about 80,000 Indian or people from Indian origin because they happened to be better at business than everybody else. They were the shop owners, the business owners, so on and so forth. And Ugandans felt that they were being exploited. Actually, they were full of jealousy. So what did they do? They decided to deport all these, kick out of the country, all these Asian and Indians and so forth. And what happened? Well, the country collapsed because these were the people who knew how to do commerce. Nobody else knew how to do commerce. So, but guess what? When all these rich Indians left the country achieved income equality. Everyone was equally as poor. Another example is in early 2000s in Zimbabwe. The president of Zimbabwe decided to confiscate the land of all the white farmers. Okay, so one day he says, oh, we're going to repatriate this land and we are going to distribute it equally among our citizens. Well, guess what? The citizens didn't have the know-how of how to farm. They didn't have the connections to export crops or to import grain or to buy equipment or to buy fertilizer. And the country collapsed. There was hyperinflation, people were hungry, everything just fell apart. And guess what the Zimbabwe government ended up doing? It ended up apologizing and returning the land to those white farmers who knew how to create wealth. And you may say, oh, but that kind of things only happen in third world countries, in countries that are developing like countries in Africa. If that wouldn't happen in industrialized modern Western countries. Well, guess what? In 2010, President Francois Hollande from France, he decided to increase taxes on the super rich. He decided that it was too unfair that the rich had so much money when the country had so many needs. Well, guess what? The rich just simply left. They just went to Belgium, they went to Monaco, they went to England, and their creativity, all the employments that the rich were creating, all that capital left. And at the end of the day, France, with the higher taxes, didn't make one extra franc, or well, now it's euros, it didn't make one extra euro from all these increasing taxes on the rich, because it just didn't work. So with all this information, we may be wondering, what's the optimal level of taxation? So there is an economist called Arthur Laffer who created Laffer curve, okay? And what he deducted is that at the beginning of the curve, if you charge zero taxes, governments are going to gain zero, okay? Zero taxes, zero gains for the government. But on the other end of the curve, if the government charges 100% taxes of someone's output or someone's labor, then the government is going to also gain zero because no one will work. Why would someone work when all the efforts, ingenuity, and risk-taking, they're not going to benefit from it? It's the government who is going to benefit. So in that curve, you have to find some place in the middle when it's called optimum taxation, that you can tax individuals high enough so that the government will obtain some revenues, but not so high that people will just say, screw this, I'm leaving to another country, I'm going to create wealth and employments, and I'm going to devote my creativity to other jurisdictions. Okay, so what's the place in that curve? Well, government's trying to find this all the time, okay? And sometimes they succeed, sometimes they fail. In my opinion, let's say as a regular citizen, I would be happy to pay either a quarter or a third of my revenues, of my income, to the government, because let's face it, we do benefit from being in a society where there are highways, where there is a court of law, where there are policemen, where there is security. So yes, we all have to contribute to this benefits of living in society. But how much benefit? Well, how much contribution? That is the question. Now, I think it's absurd for government to charge more than 50% of someone's gains. You know, yeah, we can be partners half and half. I create wealth and I give you half of it and you give me a normal functioning society. But more than half, 55, 60, 70%, that is absurd. And if I was in that position, I would just simply go and move to another country. Now I hear people complaining, oh, it's just so absurd to have such a disparity in between income levels. Me, who can hardly pay the rent, and someone like Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk or Bill Gates, who have all the millions of the world. Well, let's talk about this. The fact is that income inequality in North America has been increasing because people have found new ways to gain revenues. Now, if I have a product to sell, I don't sell it, yes, in my environment, but I can sell it nationally and even internationally. So if the product is good, let's say Bill Gates and Microsoft, okay, he was selling this software, and the product was so good that people all over the world bought it, and he became a gazillionaire. And Jeff Bezos, well, he created Amazon, and Amazon is so good that there is Amazon in so many other countries, and that benefits. So that helps to create this wealth accumulations in the hand of a few people, because they know how to work the system. They know how to use the internet and how to provide their service to a huge amount of individuals. But at the same time, income inequality is being reduced globally, because let's say these same products that Jeff Bezos sells through Amazon, well, he's gonna find labor in other countries, not necessarily in North America, but let's say in China, in Indonesia, in India, in all these places. So income inequality, there are millions of people in these countries who are getting out of poverty. They see an opportunity, while before they were starving in farming and they practically have enough food to eat. Now they go and work in factories, and now they are not living a wonderful life, but they are not in extreme poverty anymore. So these are the two extremes. So people are getting wealthy because they know how to do commerce internationally all over the world, but also all over the world people are getting wealthier because they can sell, they can do the job in China and benefit from the clients in North America, in Canada, in the United States. So this is a net benefit for everybody else. Now, another thing that is creating a huge amount of income inequality is that some people have amazing content and they know how to sell it. For example, someone like J.K. Rowling, okay, she wrote Harry Potter, and she has become a billionaire because of all the book sales plus the rights to her material in films and in all kind of in amusement parks, so on and so forth. So this is a person who was practically homeless in England, and now because we have this way to distribute content, she is a billionaire. Another example is Taylor Swift, a musician, right? A musician that now sells her music all over the world. Her music is extremely good, and she sells the music, and she has also become a billionaire. And this is not a person who started with a lot of capital, yes, some talent, but these are not necessarily business people, but because there is all this way of distributing their content in a global sphere, then they can benefit from a few cents in Pakistan, a few cents in Africa, a few cents in Germany, and overall Taylor Swift is earning billions. Now there is another tendency. There is this model, her name is Bella Thorne. She is an OnlyFans model, okay? So OnlyFans is like a porno or safe porn website. Well, this woman, taking off her clothes and posing and whatever, she earns $11 million per month. Okay, so this is just incredible. But this also is a testament that if we know how to distribute content, well, we can monetize it as well. And also, with the magic of internet, anybody anywhere in the world can create content and just make a living out of that. I am creating content right now. No, I don't have millions of followers, unfortunately. I hope you will subscribe to my channel. But I'm part of that trend of people creating content and in a way benefiting from that content. So these are the things that are creating income inequality, is that there are some people who know how to monetize their system and they are taking advantage of it. So what can we do about it? Yes, people get upset because Elon Musk is so rich, but mostly they get upset because they are having a hard time paying their rent. So they see, how is this fair? I am having a hard time paying my rent while Elon Musk have all these other gazillions of dollars. Well, I think it's not that he's so rich, it's just that there are structural problems in society that prevent regular individuals from making a little bit more money. For example, housing. Housing is super expensive. So this is a structural problem. There is enough land in Canada to create housing for everyone, or in the United States to create, but we just are not building it. Why? Well, there are so many reasons, but one of them, I think one of the most critical, is zoning laws. Okay, if in a particular area I am only allowed to build single housing, then I cannot build a duplex or a triplex or a fourplex, right? So that creates a scarcity of houses, and that, of course, because there's a scarcity, the prices are high, and then now they are out of reach for many individuals. Another problem is if I want to start a business, licensing is so difficult in many countries. There are instances where, I don't know, let's say I do manicure, I paint girls' nails, okay? So you need a license for this. Can you believe it? You need a license for this. And it's just not easy. You have to go through a particular exams and requirements where someone just should be able to say, hey, I do manicures, I want to start a business, customers come here. I started a business as an event photographer. I bought a camera and I declare myself an event photographer, and it's been 6-7 years and my business is flourishing, and it should be as easy as that. People who want to start business, sure, some business has to be regulated, but there are so many businesses that are regulated for no reason at all. And even those businesses that are regulated, that should be regulated, the regulation process should be a lot more simple. One of the biggest problems that people have is the cost of education. Well, education also seems unattainable, and it should be easier to get a degree by assisting taking classes online. I mean, I should be able to get the best professor in the world to my computer and learn how to do, I don't know, algebra or physics or whatever, and I should be able to get accreditation for this. Also, there are businesses now that are not requiring a diploma to get a job in particular area. So this is a step in the right direction. I should be able to learn a skill, and let's say computer programming. I should be able to take a few courses online, pass an exam, and then I should be able to get a job. And I think in the field of computer programming that is happening already, but there are so many feels that education is expensive and education is unattainable. And once again, this is a structural problem, and I think education should be easier and less expensive so that everyone can learn a skill that they could sell. And another one that I consider extremely important is internet access to everyone. Okay, so now Elon Musk has this company called Starlink that it can give access to the internet to people in the most remote areas. So imagine, I don't know, someone in northern Quebec where there is hardly any communication can create, I don't know, study. First of all, they can study from far away, and then they can have a business. They can do, let's say, bookkeeping, who knows, photo editing, website design, something from the middle of nowhere, copywriting. There are so many businesses that people can do, and they should be able to create those businesses from where they are. So this is something that could reduce income inequality. Yes, the fact that you could work from wherever you are. And also, companies should be more flexible in the way that if someone from, I don't know, Northern Quebec, once again, wants to work in my company in Montreal, I should be able to give that person a job. So these are the structural issues or problems that have to be fixed in order to reduce income inequality. The problem is not that Elon Musk is making so much money. The problem is that I don't have the opportunity to create a better life for myself, and this is the problem. So in conclusion, we don't solve income inequality like Elizabeth Warren or Bernie Sanders says, that we just have to tax the rich more. No, we cannot solve it by taking somebody else's money and redistributing. We have to eliminate income inequality by providing opportunities. We have to work as a government in order to make this process easy. And I'm sure little by little, in fact, I'm sure it's being reduced at a national and global scale. People are slowly living a better life. Sometimes it doesn't seem like it. And of course, if we compare ourselves, our present to somebody else's Instagram life, we're always going to feel like we are falling short. But in truth, society is advancing. Our standard of living is increasing year after year. I have faith that it's just going to continue improve. But let's work on these ideas. Let's work on housing, education, connectivity, and we will have a brighter future. Thank you so much for listening, and on to soon. Peace.